Welcome to Power and Lipstick, a series of podcasts with inspirational people. My name is Donna Giffen and I'm your host. I'm in the constant mission to be better fitness instructor, stronger and fitter person, faster triathlete, more productive business person, better wife, friend, daughter, and better human being. To do that, I'm in the search of tools for becoming the best version of myself. In each podcast, I'm meeting with people who have ideas, knowledge, or story to share. The project is about learning, discovering, and getting inspirations. It is for everyone who wants to create a badass habits and get buzzing with the new ideas. In today's podcast, I'm meeting with Donna Giffen, Zumba educational specialist, presenter, actor, singer, teacher, speaker, life coach, writer, nature junkie, and a universe lover. We are talking about how Donna has started her soul bar business, about affirmation, gratitude, and power of words, and how they affect us and make us better. We are talking about meditation and easy ways to meditate, about the self-care, and also why nature is so important part of our lives. We are also talking about food and why Donna has stopped eating wheat, processed sugar, yeast, dairy, and meat, and why she has converted to whole food and plant-based diet. Hope you enjoy it. Happy listening.
Hi, I'm Donna. I'm a cake eater. we're having a lovely vegan gluten-free cake. But I'm Donna and I am a Zumba education specialist, which is somebody who trains Zumba instructors. So I teach instructor trainings, we do masterclasses and events, and I have my own wellness company that is literally about empowering people to live their highest vision. So that's the aim.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, I'll ask you some kind of random questions now.
Ooh,
they are just really like one word questions.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Steak or salad?
Salad.
Indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor.
Reading or listening?
Oh. Depends on the day.
Okay, cool. City or village?
Village.
Squat or twerk?
Oh, I love a squat.
Okay. Right.
I'm partial to twerk, but I do love a squat.
What's your favorite word?
My favorite word?
Maybe something you used recently?
I use thingamabob a lot.
What word?
Thingamabob.
Oh, wow.
Or doodah.
Okay.
So, obviously, I'm Scottish, and Joanna's...
I'm just like, what? I was like, again?
So, it's a very British thing, and possibly maybe particularly Scottish, these certain words, but you would use it to describe anything that you can't find the word for. So I'd be like, can you pass me the, the doodah?
Oh,
can
wow.
you pass me the thingamabob? Remember we went to doodah?
Okay. I would be like, what the hell she's talking about?
They are words that you use when you actually can't think of the word to say, and it's one of those things where you can pass me the doodah, and the person will know exactly what it is that you want passed.
Okay, if you point, then I would figure out. But otherwise,
if you
say,
a point.
I was like, what
it comes
the hell
with a
she's
point
talking about?
And energy at a general direction, so you kind of have an idea.
You know,
this is educational.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, I've been living now in Scotland for 10 years, and there is sometimes lots, like, still things that I'm just like, I have no idea what this person is talking to me about. I just like no clue. And there's sometimes words. I mean, like sometimes you can figure out from the context, so you just miss out what those word means. But sometimes it's just like, I have no idea.
I'm Scottish, and I feel the same.
Okay, here we go. So it makes me feel a little bit better.
That's funny.
Okay, so the next question will be kind of quite, I think, relating to what you said. On a scale 1 to 10, how weird are you?
9.8.
Okay, we should say 1 being not weird, 10 being very
Can I have
weird.
my 0.2% of normality?
Perfect. Awesome. Okay.
I wasn't expecting these questions.
You know what? I just thought, just
amazing.
make it a little bit, break down the... So, tell me how everything started for you. All your... actually, not the Zumba thing. Maybe those people who don't know, but I would like to find out how you started doing your wellness.
So I think the wellness side of it started with the Soul Barn, which was it's just a Facebook page and it was sharing inspirational posts. Because I found that when you're in the middle of something and maybe you've got something going on, you wake up in a particular mood, there's maybe a few recurring days where maybe you're not feeling so good or something happens that you see a quote and it just changes your day. So it was just like one quote, one sentence, maybe a phrase was enough to see, and you always kind of see at the time that you need those certain words. And I thought, that's actually really powerful. So it just takes a few words just to change your entire day. And what I found was if you hold on to those words and you remind yourself of them, it gives you a little boost and it can change your direction, especially if you're maybe not capable of changing it yourself within your head. Maybe you don't have that power in that moment. So just a few simple words were enough to just change direction for that day. And of course, what we're doing in health and fitness, I think, it's obviously it's physical, it's dynamic, it involves the body, but the mind gets put aside a little bit, and the emotions and the power of those. And it was just a case of I started to put out my affirmation for the day. I started to make a choice for the day because I was going through something personally difficult at the time. And so it was just, making a statement for the day.
For yourself, basically.
It was essentially for myself. It became like your own online therapy. It's like your choice you made for that day. Because the other choice was maybe not to feel so good or to focus on something else. So it was just redirecting that to something that was better feeling, so a better emotional state, and just holding on to that lifted you up for the day. And what I found was if I put that out there for the day and I make it a public statement, I will more likely live up to it. Whereas if it's internal and it's just for you, so then actually other people started to say that it was useful, it was nice, thank you for the words. And what you find is that everybody's going through a version of what you are. You're never alone, it's never just your problem, or you have a different version of maybe what somebody else is going through, and everybody needs help. Everybody needs a story to be shared, everybody needs uplifting, they need a little bit of guidance for the day. So sharing that, I was actually benefiting others, but it wasn't necessarily for that purpose, something that I saw, and I thought, that's good for me, that's my statement for the day, and if somebody else gets the benefit from it, nice. But it was more so for me, so I could live up to a certain energy, because people have expectations, and you are responsible when you are in a particular role, and you can't put out all your negative or your bad stuff. You have to make a choice. So by default, it was helping others. So that's when I decided to make it an actual thing.
So basically, from just a simple quote or quotes for yourself, it evolved to a bigger project.
Yes, and it became, so I started to find nice images and pictures that felt as though they resonated with the words. And from just the quote, you would naturally elaborate on that yourself, so it became more wordy. So rather than just the quote inspired words, so therefore that quote then became a post. So from that post, you could get to elaborate a little bit more. And if the post had a particular content of something that maybe had a theme or an area of life, when you expand upon that, there's an opportunity to give people more information and maybe something they haven't heard of in terms of a tool that can help you, maybe an area that's worth for them looking into that might help them in their life. So it just expanded and became more wordy, and that's how it became just about sharing words and information to hopefully help people transform themselves in any moment.
So you think that, those are affirmation, yeah? Would you call them affirmation? Some of them.
Yeah, some of them were affirmation. I mean, I think the purpose of it is very affirmational. It's about, if you read something, it will either spark something in you that you think, I don't agree with that. So it will maybe give you affirmation of your own truth, but also if you're a little bit lost, maybe you're struggling with something, it will give you the words you need in that moment to affirm another path. So it's not that those words are absolutely right, it's that it will spark something in somebody,
Do you do affirmation, like per se affirmation?
I love affirmations, and they're my go-to. And I think I certainly rely on them because I've found the benefits from them. And I think it depends on the topic, on what it is you want to address, what you're feeling, maybe even what you want to transform or change, because I think you have a choice at that time. If something's not feeling so good, let's say it's something to do with work, you're not enjoying going into work, and maybe it's the people, maybe you're a little bit bored, maybe you don't vibe with the people there, maybe you just haven't found that connection, that community, or maybe you feel like you're less than some of the people there, you're not as qualified. That's not a nice energy to take into anything, never mind just your work, but it filters out and trickles into the rest of your life. So in that situation, your affirmation would be different from maybe you're having difficulty in a family situation, or you just feel you have low self-worth in general. Is it specific to an environment, or is it just you, and you need it daily? So yeah, just finding affirmations that are positive, that can turn your perception of something around, even though you might feel you're faking it and you might be lying. You're like, this is a lie, because I don't feel this way, but it gives you an alternative to focus on. And when you repeat them, your energy does change throughout the day.
So will you just keep telling them to yourself, or write them down, or
so
what's
I write them
the
down.
best way?
So I have a little notebook, and I have a set of affirmations that are across the board. Something for health and wellness, if maybe we've been a little bit of feeling lazy, and that punishment that you maybe do within yourself to say, you haven't done this today, you haven't done that, or if you're in the habit of making excuses, or there's an element of self-criticism when you're aware of that, for not doing what you feel you should be doing or you want to do, but then that keeps you in the rut. So it's like changing that to say, I make healthy choices for myself, I love exercise, I fill my body with wholesome nutritional food, I love my body and myself exactly as I am, but I make healthy decisions for a better me. So you're saying you're okay how you are, not to punish yourself, but also where do you want to be? So you have to give yourself healthy words to get there. And I find them very powerful, because also when you repeat them, and you also have to change your physical state, lift your chest, your shoulders back, smile maybe even as you say them, but feel them, not just to repeat the words, but to feel how they feel to say them. And repeat them, and you essentially you take on much more of that energy, and you're proud of yourself for doing so.
It's kind of like fake it until you make it.
Yes, absolutely, because I do feel that you become that. Now, you're not going to be perfect, you have dips. Maybe, and maybe sometimes the affirmation needs to change. If you're having maybe regular dips of something, think, okay, maybe those aren't the words for me, let me just tweak it. So I tweak it regularly, depending on how the situation changes.
That's amazing. Do you also do gratitude? Because that's it's really close to affirmation, I suppose, just being grateful for whatever you achieve. And just, the affirmations are a little bit where you want to be.
Yeah.
And the gratitude is just like accepting what's happening and just looking at everything kind of from the positive sides. And just, maybe things go bad, but then you've got that. You have, you're healthy. You have, things that you need. You've got house. You've got everything, So.
But I think it's good to use the gratitude and the affirmations together. So, say, think about goals or dreams or affirmations. If it feels quite far from where you are currently, what you'll focus on is that gap between where you are now and where you want to be. So maybe an affirmation involves where you want to be. It would be like a focus and something you want to bring in about how you're going to get there. But I think if you entwine it with gratitude, so to say, I'm so thankful for all the lessons along the way and for each person and event on my journey. So it's worth including the gratitude within it, because I think you have to recognise where you are, be grateful for it, even if you don't feel you have anything to be grateful for. You can find 5 things.
Yeah.
And the things that you actually want to change and want to address, actually include them, even if they're not there. So, for example, if it's maybe a fitness goal and you want to be more consistent or more regular with attending classes, but you find yourself maybe making excuses or something, and of course I'm using what we do as an example because I think most people will relate to it, just to say, I'm so grateful for my healthy body and my commitment to myself. Because even though that might be something you want to do because you're not so good at it just now, it's you have to be grateful for it as if you're doing it. Yeah. Because when you thank yourself for it, it's almost like you're tricking yourself a little bit, but it genuinely is. You have to say, thank you for the present moment, but I use gratitude relating to what it is I want to bring in or where I want to be. And I'm grateful for it as if it's here now. So I would say I'm so grateful for example, if somebody wants to change their job and they're maybe not happy where they are, if they say, I'm so thankful that I have a job, I'm grateful for work colleagues I have a wonderful working relationship with, and I'm grateful that I feel appreciated and valued, and I go to work feeling happy. Now, that might not be your current situation, but if you say thank you for it as it is, and you make those statements, so it's affirmational, but it's grateful, and what you find is you take a different attitude into work. You can't change the people or the circumstance, but your energy and attitude you take in, I think either that event will transform, or you'll find yourself naturally coming away from this and drawn towards more people and events that are closer to what you want.
Yeah, that's amazing, actually. Do you also think? I know that's another thing you're doing, the meditation. Is that another thing which can make you better and deal with the situation? I mean, if you, especially like if you are stressed and you have job that you don't like and you do those affirmation, but would that be another nice tool?
I think so, and I think there's this thing around meditation that it has to be 20 minutes or 40 minutes, and you have to sit still and close your mind and stop your thoughts. It's never going to happen. But I think it's this idea that you have to sit and be still and go off into some weird spiritual world that maybe you don't connect with, or it's not your thing. Meditation is actually, and mindfulness in general, is just being present in the moment. So if you can take just 5 deep breaths where you count and you're conscious of your breath.
I'm just doing this now.
All you do, you've done a meditation.
Yeah.
That's enough, because all it is bringing yourself out of your current chaos. Maybe it's a chaos, maybe it's an irritability. I think there are different stages of it. So whatever you're in at that moment, maybe, again, we'll use the work example. If you feel you're in the middle of something, go to the bathroom. Just stay there for a few moments and just connect with your breath. So focus on the coolness of the air coming in the nostrils, the rise of the belly, the chest filling, and then that reducing, and feel the warmth of the air that comes out. So your focus is out of your head and out of your current situation. Just 5 deep belly breaths with your focus on the breath and your awareness on the breath is a meditation. That's actually all you need.
Yeah.
So if you have something so simple you can incorporate throughout the day, of course you can then include your gratitude within it. You can include affirmations within breath work. So you can inhale an emotional state and exhale something you want to release. So you could say, for example, I inhale calm, I exhale frustration. I inhale clarity and I exhale my chaos. And literally visualize it going away and imagine the fresh air coming in. And I think just including it all together is a really powerful tool set.
Yeah, I think, like lots of people have this idea of the meditation that it's like, I don't know, woo, and you're gonna sit cross-legged with, I don't know, in the temple or whatever, for hours. But yeah, it's that simple what you say? It's just breathing and, just focusing on your breath or good stuff and just letting the bad things to go away.
Yeah. I think even just a walk in nature can be a meditation. Mm-hmm. Just being away from your current circumstance, and again, using the work scenario, if people maybe aren't entirely happy, just leaving their desk for a little while, or just going out at lunchtime and just walking, being somewhere different. When you change energy in any form, whether it's mental, it's emotional, or if it's physical, the minute you change your energetic state, everything switches. You have to change something up, so you can choose what you're able to do within that moment. And maybe sometimes people just need a little bit of walk, a bit of fresh air, clears the head, and that's a meditation in itself.
Exactly. And if you go to a nature, if you have a chance, if you have a park, or we are just beside the water of Liv now. Mm-hmm. So if you go there, it's just like so amazing. It's calming, and you suddenly, especially if you have a busy life, you're things on and on, working on the PC, then that's something that you just ground you.
Yeah, and it's definitely grounding. I think being around the elements in any way and in nature, even whether it's concrete, rock, earth, water, I don't think it really matters, because there's something beneficial from all of them. Whereas maybe people say, I only like being by water, I don't really connect with the woods, or I think there's something to be taken from everywhere. But I think find a thing that you connect with and go do it, often, because I think we get in the habit of it.
And I think going to different places as well, it makes your mind to be like a child mind, just to discover different places, just see things that you normally don't see. Because if you tend to go to the same place over and over again, you just you stop noticing stuff.
You do. And I think what you're saying about being childlike as well is important, even just to play, right? So if you are You know, it's like if you see adults and kids walking along and there's a little wall, the kid is the one jumping up in the wall and the adult's down holding the hand, you know. No, go up in the wall, right? Go join them.
Go
Yeah.
do the same.
Be that sensible adult that's, you know, go climb on the wall, jump off the curb and see how different you feel, you know, just in yourself. Just people might look at you funny.
Well, who cares?
Who cares?
I don't care.
You know, but go do it. Jump off the pavement or, you know, what's it called? Poo sticks. You know poo sticks? So
No.
we have this character here, Winnie the Pooh. So it's like it was a
just like,
stories. Yeah, 80
okay.
million. So it's Winnie the Pooh, and one of the things within that was a little bridge, and the river kind of ran underneath the bridge. So they would look over one side, drop a stick, obviously in the direction the river's flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, drop the stick, and then you quickly run to the other side, and you see where it's coming. Something as simple
Yeah.
as that, right?
But then you know what? You know there is so many things you could do, but then you see people with their mobiles everywhere.
Yeah.
That's really depressing, especially if you see people walking or sitting in the park in beautiful, you know, scenery, and they're sitting on their phones. That's kind of, I don't know. I mean, I probably do it sometimes as well, but that's just went mad.
Yeah, I'll do it for one of the. So when I used to keep everything fairly private. I always say Facebook. If it wasn't for my work, I wouldn't have Facebook. Right?
I'm the same.
I probably would more so because it helps you connect everybody. But I think so. I tried to use it as I would keep everything quite private and use it only for work. But then what I realised was, as humans, we're quite nosy. We like insight into people's lives. So and we like to take little ideas and inspiration for people. And so when I kind of finally gave in. And I posted much more private stuff. It's an empowerment thing because it lets people see that it's not all about work. So people may maybe say to me, "You're always on the go. You're always on the go." It's like, not really. Maybe my energy is always. I'm doing something, but it's not always crazy work stuff.
Yeah,
it would be out in nature for the weekend or woohoo, going to yoga class. So
or doing meditation as well.
So I'm much more public about things than I used to be because I think. That in itself is good for people to see that it's okay to go do normal stuff and to have balance and also to say no to work things or to take a break from some things that are associated with your work or your role or a position that you feel you're supposed to have. No, say no because you can only bring your best self to that if you have enough time that is not that. So that's why I certainly post things I do just to say to give people ideas and inspiration for something, maybe something else they hadn't thought about or different places in nature that you've gone. So you think, don't you go to nature just to be on your own and be quiet? Yes, I do. But while there, I'm going to take 5 minutes to take a couple of pictures and post because somebody might go, oh, that's just what I need. And where is that place?
Just, an idea where people can go or what, I think we forget the simple things like that makes us sane, basically.
Yeah.
And
you need balance, you need normality.
Yeah. So, okay, so that's the next question. What's your ways to be sane and be happy and be, take care of yourself, basically?
I wouldn't call myself sane. I don't think I ever get
Yeah, okay, so let's skip that. How do you care
so
about
like
yourself?
Self-care?
Yeah.
I think I love people and I certainly love what I do because it's all about the people and I like the products that I'm involved with in terms of like how you connect with the people, the reason everybody comes together. But I genuinely, I'm a 70% alone time, 30% people person. Even though it doesn't look like that, I do actually generally have that balance. So the only way I can come and enjoy people is actually as if I have enough time on my own. And that can be quite hard for people because maybe they feel a little bit lonely or they feel trapped with themselves, their own thoughts. But I think when you spend enough time alone, we're able to actually cope with the different things in life a little bit better. We're able to bring a fresh energy to people, and maybe we monitor our reactions and responses to people a little bit better as well because we've spent enough time with ourselves. So for me, that's a big one. It's having enough alone time, but I do also need connection and need interaction, but with like-minded people, like what we're doing here now, just having these conversations and connecting, and so that's part of your self-care. If you don't have the time to do that in whatever area that you love talking with people about, whatever topics, I think you have to have those connections also and enough alone time. But for me, it's ritual. I'm a big fan of ritual. I don't like routine. Routine doesn't work for me, but I like ritual because ritual is personal, right? As opposed to something too set and formatted.
Yeah.
So
What
it
do
would
you
be
do?
something like hot water with lemon and ginger, maybe some apple cider vinegar. It's not hugely important, but if I'm somewhere and I've gone somewhere for 3 days and I haven't had my hot water and lemon, I'm like,
You're going crazy. I'm
and
the
it's
same.
just because that's how I like to start the day, and
Yeah.
it's very calming, and also to have that before I connect with the world. And I've been a little bit bad with this recently, so we have this habit of just, as soon as my alarm goes off, I'm like, let me just look at my phone, keep it in my hand.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, it goes aside. So before you connect with the world, because normally our first connection with the world is via our phone. It might be kids coming in and jumping in the room. It might be your spouse leaving for work, or whatever that first connection with people is. I think it's really, really important that we have time for ourselves before we connect with anybody. I know I certainly need that. So even if it's 5 minutes, just sipping tea and just sitting and being.
Yeah.
So that for me is important. And also, I think we've talked about this before, is making food. There's a creating ideas. That for me is self-care, because it's, what's going in your body, and also, like, my mum will tell you I'm a terrible... No, I'm not going to say that because that's affirmational. I used to be not so great in the kitchen. But basically, I'm messy. Everything's on the floor, on the worktop.
Oh, well. But that's,
it's okay.
creation.
Creative people are messy.
Yeah,
I'll take
exactly.
it. But just once I got into, when I changed my diet, and when I decided I wanted something different within my body, that became a meditation. It became mindfulness of the preparation, and also your energies going into that food. And so that for me is definitely important. Being in nature is essential for me. And it feels like, see, that's all still busy. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So you're never just doing nothing.
Yeah.
But I think if I don't have these little things in place, I would be doing them rushed, whereas there's still a calmness about them most of the time.
But I think it's nice taking time to do those things, and like you enjoy them, and they keep you, on the top of the things, and you have, this is your break with either it's cooking or sitting down in the morning before you go out and start doing work. It just keeps you, like, it's mindfulness, everything like that.
I think it is, and I think mindfulness is a word now that's not quite as weird
Yeah.
or unattainable as it used to be. Even just when I started, even when I started doing the Soul Bar and stuff that then became the Soul Works, the company, and all the other things that came with it, I remember being cautious about what I posted, cautious about my wording, because a lot of it was very new. No, it wasn't new. It's just it wasn't commercially available to us.
Yes.
So, and the commercial is maybe not the right word, but maybe we just didn't have access to a lot of the tools.
Yeah, I think that's, and what I was saying before, that we had this in our heads, that things like that, only people who are super weird.
Yeah.
Like people who are maybe
fluffy and out there.
Yeah, so you think like, okay, those are not my kind of people, what we tend to say.
Yeah.
But then you started seeing business people, fitness presenters, like lots of people from our realms doing it, and then you start thinking like, okay, maybe I should try that. Maybe actually this is what's helping. It became more normal and accessible as well.
And I certainly think with the wording of it, we do have to be careful, because I think when maybe initially when we started to see a lot of that, it was the wording of it was for people who are maybe already in a particular circle. So the words weren't off-putting. But my whole mission with the Soul Works and Soul Barn was to find a way to deliver all these incredible, cool tools that we have and all this amazing stuff that's out there in a language that we can grasp, because I'm into it and I'm an eye roller. If I go to somewhere, I'm like, oh, just because the wording I'm maybe uncomfortable with, or I feel it unnecessary. It's almost like maybe an elitism or a snobbery around an area, which I think is a shame, because we can all benefit from things, but it maybe has this... People have a perception about it, so if we can make it accessible and find wording that we can all relate to. But I do remember, initially I'd be cautious about that wording, and then mostly because I didn't want to put people off. But then what I found is when you take in that energy, that cautious approach to something, or you're being too careful with your wording, you're not really being very authentic. So you actually just have to take all that away. So it's a journey yourself as well, And now it's like you still have to share it in a very normal way and not come from a... So, for example, if I post something and if I maybe say, here are the benefits of this, this and this, give it a go, then sure, some people might be interested, but if it feels like it's a dictation of any sort, or trying to force somebody down a path, or that maybe the wording of it's come across that will make your life better. So to actually share the things you do yourself, and it's that whole thing of having a little bit of insight into other people's lives, because if somebody's getting the benefits from something and they genuinely practice it and they do these things and it's become a part of their life, then maybe that's more appealing for people because they see it in a normal environment and a normal person doing it, as opposed to it just existing only in some spiritual circle, which makes it, I think, unattainable, you know.
Yeah.
So the wording has definitely changed, and it's much more accessible now, and also there's so much science behind it, which is really good, which will bring some people to it that maybe they wouldn't come the
mystical way
the
or whatever,
of prana
spiritual,
or chi or, you know, those things that might put people off. So I'll mess around and I'll say, you're messing with my chi, and I genuinely mean it.
Okay.
You know, like, but in terms of the wording, but I'll use it playfully because it makes people laugh and maybe they'll be easy about it. Whereas if I was to say something in your chi and put it in a particular way,
people will be like, oh my God, let's leave.
Oh, she's nuts. Let's get out. She dresses us in tie-dye and sprays us with patchouli. You know? Yeah. So but I think it's coming back to the first topic. Sorry. So like mindfulness it's really has a lot of science behind it now, and it's more available, and people are really seeing the benefits of it, which is amazing. Yeah,
I'm doing meditations every day now, and when I miss a day, and I'm not doing long ones, I do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's all. It's just briefing basically. When I miss it, for a few days, then I start feeling nervous. Otherwise, I feel I'm on the top of the things and I can look in the stressful situations from the distance. It's just helped me so much.
And do you find in that meditation that you're able to kind of quiet the mind, or when the thoughts are coming, you're able to just have a different view of them? So do you find that they've transformed your perception about something, or you're able to be free of them?
I have lots of thoughts, so I'm trying to, the time I notice I'm thinking about something, then I try to move on and focus on my breath. Because obviously, like for me, I don't know if it's the right way to do things, but for me, this 5-10 minutes, it's about just having the mind clear and not thinking, okay, what am I going to do for dinner? And then I'm catching myself like, okay, this is not what I'm sitting here. I can think about the dinner after. So I'm trying, I notice the thoughts, but I'm trying to pass them away. Yeah. So that's the way I do.
It's like they always say, you know, to basically be an observer of the thoughts. So to let them come, to not stop them, because we can never stop them, but it's to be the observer and to be aware of what's going on and just bring ourselves back to the breath. But what I find is that in that, I get moments of inspiration and ideas and maybe solutions to something that maybe before your meditation you were irritable about or you were unsure of. So for me, I find this, I'll be in the middle of this meditation, I'll get an idea, I'm like, I need to write it down. No, you don't. You can wait. You'll remember it at the end. But what if I don't?
Oh, wow. No, I don't have that yet. No, I don't know if it's just depends from people or you maybe 10 minutes is too short.
No. Because I will do, if I do something for longer that, I will do guided. And people say, you know, if you're teaching meditation in any way, you know, do non-guided, sit with yourself. But I think it's like anything. If you're an instructor of something or you're a teacher in something, we always say, go to other people's classes. Yeah. Go get inspiration and ideas from other people in your field or in a slightly different area of your field. It's the same thing. I think, so I like a mix of just sitting with self. I sometimes do stones or crystals. I'll maybe do a focused breath work, or sometimes I literally just sit there and breathe. Sometimes I'll do something guided. It could be 20 minutes. It might be 40 minutes. I think it just depends. And sometimes I'll do like a little kind of chakra cleansing thing at night. So
what's your favorite?
There's so much available.
Yeah. I did start with guided meditation. That was the first thing. Yeah. Now I moved to just on breath, and probably I will come back. What's your favorite guided meditation? Do you have like a favorite app or favorite person?
I like, there's Silent Journey is a website, and they have a very good, it's a free meditation now. It's 40 minutes, so it's lengthy, but I find it very good because they let you wander and then bring you back. And the guy's voice is I like it, soothing, you know, but it's very forgiving and accepting. So it's, you know, if you wander, it's okay. Just bring your attention back to your breath. You do a little body scan, you'll do a relaxation, but towards the end of it, what he includes is what I would most like to achieve today is. And so you would put your thing in there in terms of what do you want most to achieve. So now that you're basically in this really good state of deep relaxation and calm, you would then bring your attention to what do you want to achieve today. So it's not too far ahead. And what was interesting, when I first started doing that meditation, I would get up at 6 in the morning. I'd go for a walk up and around the crags, after seat. So where I was, I'd deliberately get up early. I'd do my walk first rather than a meditation first because I felt I couldn't sit. So we'd go up, walk around, and I'd listen to something motivational or inspirational, and I'd come back home, sit down and do this 40-minute meditation. No, it's not. Is it 40 minutes? I think it is.
Maybe hour and 40.
Is it 20 or 40? I might be fibbing. Now I'm unsure. I'm doubting if it's 20 or 40, but that's quite long either way for some people. So within this meditation towards the end of it, what I would most like to achieve today is, and normally mine would be calm productivity. It was a regular choice. It's funny because you remember it, because what I found was your day would get away with you and you would have your things to do, and I wasn't being very productive, and I was procrastinating on quite a lot. So when I started my day with that, I'd be doing what I was doing. I'd be like, what time is it? It must be about 2 o'clock. And I would look and it was like just before 11. I'm like, and I had a lot done. So that for me was my conviction there. Okay, this is the way to start the day. But like you, if I don't regularly do it, it's I feel it. So I think it's just that habit. But it depends how much time you feel that you have or time you're able to create. But you don't need that length. I think just 5 minutes is enough.
There is even this 1 minute meditations, which is amazing. Even, for 1 minute, closing your eyes and just breathing. And you feel the difference.
Yep. And also because it's not just that, it doesn't just bring you out of the mind, it's actually, you're fully oxygenating your body. Like you're refining the breath when you focus on it. When you feel that inhale and you fully exhale, you get to re-energize the cells as well. So it's physically, it's very good for us. And they say like the breath is a bridge to the nervous system. So just really focusing on that and bringing some attention to it will just generally calm the nervous system as well.
Yeah, amazing. You did mention about food. You did mention that the food is very important for you. And I know, well, maybe not this cake. This cake was very important today.
Yes.
But you did mention that I know that you changed your eating a while ago. So why you did that? You've been eating everything before and then you changed completely, or you always were?
So I was actually sick for many, many years. So from the age of 18 to maybe 28. So really, really violent headaches, migraines. I would what do you call it? Like not faint, but kind of like black out. And I also had very bad stomach issues, like really bad swelling. I had eczema, so I had lots and lots of different things going on. And I'd been to hospitals and specialists for many, many years and never quite got passed between many departments, But I mean, I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow when I lived in London. I was really bad just walking up the stairs, had no energy to do anything. So it was possibly chronic fatigue syndrome, ME. Somewhere else I was a hypochondriac because, I could put mascara on that day, so therefore I didn't have ME. And it's like, well, no, I want to be healthy. I'm not asking for anything, So you got passed around, you're young, you're vibrant, you should be this, because there was nothing, I didn't fit into any categories. So towards the end of that, and again, you go through the whole process of having all the tests, cameras everywhere, you can possibly have cameras, and that whole process. And as a young person, that's, it's exhausting. And I was in theatre and I loved my job. I wanted to be lively. I wanted to be well. So eventually I gave up and I decided to go my own route. Now, the thing that sold it for me was my ears. So I would, it was like a vertigo. And somebody within this process, it was actually a Spanish doctor I'd seen somewhere. It was so lovely. But I didn't believe him because I thought it was strange. And he said, you have a gastro-related vertigo, where the little ball bearings in your ears, they kind of crystallise if your body isn't able to process something. I was like, crazy.
Yeah.
And gave me kind of a couple of exercises.
I would think the same, right.
Yeah. But then I had a very severe ear, and I used to get regular ear infections.
So that we're talking about like few years back, not even...
No, many years
back.
Up until the age of, I think, probably 28. So I'm now... So I've just turned 40. So this is obviously your youth right up into kind of late 20s. And it's debilitating, and it's hard to not be low or depressed with all of that, because it's your physical health, and it affects everything you do, because I was
Yeah.
in theatre. I couldn't turn. I couldn't do any turns. I'd look up in the shower, I'd fall backwards.
And especially if you're performing, that's that's a big thing. Your body is the most important tool you've got.
But also, I would go. I'd probably have 2 or 3 ear and chest infections in a year, and at least once a year I would go almost completely deaf in one ear, and you get passed round and full of antibiotics and. So that's eventually. Anyway, got to that point where I was living in LA, I was living in the States, and I went to the ear hospital there, and he mentioned a gastro-related vertigo, whether you're not able to process some foods in the ball bearings in your ears. I was like, okay. So when I came back, I actually went to the Jean de Vries clinic. So he passed a couple of years ago, but he's a GP and a complementary and alternative therapist, so he had both backgrounds.
Okay.
And so I did some different things at their clinic.
Is it here in Edinburgh, London?
They have one in Edinburgh, they have one in Troon, pretty sure they have London.
Okay.
So that's when I decided to go the alternative route. Because I'd already given up a lot of chemicals, because I was also asthmatic. So I'd removed all chemicals from the house, from your toiletries, from any cleaning products. I had done all of that because I was, pretty bad asthmatic, and the eczema as well with the skin things. So I'd heard that they were connected and they were related. So I had kind of addressed that, but I was still not great in those areas. And then when I went this alternative route, and they said about being unable to maybe process wheaten, so I wasn't intolerant to anything, but you don't necessarily process it well, maybe yeast, refined sugar, dairy. So I did like a full 28-day cleanse.
So was it like this stuff you've been eating regularly?
Stuff you'd been eating regularly. So I did a full 28-day cleanse, and I was sick for the first 8 to 10 days, really violent headaches, but I stuck it out. And at the time I was living in LA. So I went and did this, and I felt phenomenal.
But this
really
is what is it, like if you change your diet and whatever, especially if it's really bad, and you turn healthier, you ditch some stuff, then you will feel headaches and you feel sick.
Of course, yeah, that initial change.
Your body is
right?
fighting for the stuff you had.
But what was interesting is that when I, maybe 2 weeks later, I was like, yeah, I feel great. And I remember this, I had pizza. And I was ill for 10 days.
Wow.
I was like, sold. I am sold. So that's when I first removed gluten, wheat, dairy. Now, what the woman had said, she's, reintroduce little bits of it if you feel like it. So I did, and I got to some, but I still wasn't quite right. Then, of course, the meat thing had come in for me, and it got to the point where I'd always wanted to try the vegetarian, the vegan, but it wasn't a hugely popular thing. I got into more yoga, more meditation. I was doing Reiki, so a lot of energy work. And what I found is the more I got into that, the less I was able to tolerate maybe the taste of something in my mouth, the process of eating it. But then I'd looked at like a lot of the cultures that live very close to the earth. They have a ceremony thanking the animal, the spirit of the animal, for sacrificing themselves, using, the whole cycle of life, the circle of life. I thought, okay, maybe I could go that route. Tried that. It's like, no. And again, you're told to cleanse your food maybe before you eat it. I tried that. It's like, no, I need to. And maybe like on Facebook, all the different motivational, inspirational videos and things come up. And I'd seen several about eating different animals. It was a chicken coming in for a hug. I was like, oh, okay, there goes chicken. And then it was, cows being released into the field and then jumping with glee. I was like, oh my God. So it just got to that point where I couldn't. And also, what I wanted to do was live as close to the earth as possible. So it kind of had two sides for me. So I don't push the animal part of it because that's personal. And I don't like to see that being pushed on people because it's a personal choice. You know? But for me, it was more so going as clean and live and raw as possible as well. So this is a long story to get to where we're going, but it was all these little things tied up. So when I actually decided it, that's when everything changed. So my health, people would comment on your skin. Now, my weight has gone up and down with experimenting, but that wasn't the focus.
Because obviously, if you are vegan, if you want to do it for weight loss or whatever, that's maybe not the way or whatever. But if you're doing it for your,
that's right for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But for your health, that's that's what's important.
So it was living whole foods, plant-based as much as possible. And again, people would comment on your vitality and maybe your skin and your hair. But what I found was, I just generally felt better and I walked differently. And I think it was because I was finally in line with my choices that I'd been putting off. So because I felt right, because it was right for me, not to do with anybody else, but that felt right, I just walked differently and I was so proud of myself for doing it. But I did it long and slow. I didn't go cold turkey, I did long and slow, because obviously with work, with travelling, going to lots of different countries, on a lot of long flights, I didn't want to be stuck with eating lettuce somewhere.
It's
and not have
it's difficult, obviously.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's not easy way of eating if you have to eat out. But I think it's amazing that there is more and more places everywhere you can
'cause
get
we've
healthy.
experimented, right? We've tried a few.
You can have healthy foods, so that's
Yeah.
really good, and you have
Yeah.
options for it's not only because veganism. It could be really unhealthy as well.
Yeah, it can be, and we've talked about this, about the content that's in vegan products.
Yeah.
It's all very well to be vegan if that's what you want, but you have to look at the content of what's in it. Because if you believe you're removing something for either the toxicity of what you believe is in those animal products, or the energetic or emotional toxicity that comes with eating an animal, which is something you don't want to do, they're both toxic situations.
Yeah.
So you remove those and you go vegan, but you're getting loads of toxins from a lot of the other things that are in it.
Exactly. So I think plant-based but natural and real food, that's kind of what's, for me, it's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, and also the process of creating those for yourself, it became exciting.
Yeah.
So I think when you do that and you know what's going into your body, and don't get me wrong, I've been very, very lazy in the last couple of weeks with a lot of travelling and change of circumstances, and it's like, okay, tomorrow. But now, I honestly am like, this is why I'm having this carrot cake today. Now, okay, it's gluten and vegan, but I'm like, I am having it because from tomorrow, when I've got more time, that's it.
You can,
Still
you
full
can
of
focus.
excuses, you know?
I mean, obviously, I think it's also okay not to beat yourself that, you didn't follow your pattern, but just eat as much as green and good food as possible.
Yeah, and also, like, I'm teasing with the cake because I genuinely believe that
You've got a cake every day, obviously, yeah. It's like, yes.
Your thoughts are, I believe your thoughts are sometimes much more powerful than the food you're putting in your body. Because if you're consuming and you're having your guilt and your shame and your self-punishment, that's toxic. That's
It's even
more
worse,
toxic than food, because you live with that and then you punish yourself for the rest of the day, but the cake's gone by whenever.
You know what? I always think it's nice if you have something you think it's bad for you, then, but if you fully enjoy it, that's fine, you know?
You have
just
to.
enjoy it.
As long as it's by your values.
Yeah.
You know, because for me, like, I look at some of the other things there, and listen, I can still smell a bacon roll, a bacon and egg roll, and you smell it, but I think that's your conditioning, you know? I still am like, oh, God, bacon egg. So the smell of it, it's there because you've done it your entire life.
Yeah.
And, okay, there's the animal side of it, but it's also, what do I want to put in my body? When do I feel vibrant? When do I feel healthy? When do I feel strong and clean and whole? And so you can give in to whatever temptation. I think it's okay, providing it's within your values, you know, and because everybody's values are very different. So just because somebody says something is not good for you, you know, okay, live that, but what's right for you? Because if I was to go with,
if I would tell you like what's right, then you might not like some certain things, or you might not agree, and that would be even worse. Just to follow. I mean, it's nice to try what someone maybe recommends and see if that's the way you like it, but don't force yourself on.
Yeah, because I think it has to be personal. It's your own journey. Take advice and inspiration, and go seek and do all your research. But I think it has to be personal because you're the one inside your physical body, so you know what sits right. It's like hot and cold food. Did we talk about this?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So once I started experimenting and I got my stuff down, I was doing raw and live, and that's when I felt the most amazing. But then I started to experiment with cooking because I was getting better. So I started to do a lot of hot foods. And my body, I just don't like, I'm not as good on hot foods. So now it's like, okay, I've got that clarity and I've got confirmation of what's right for me.
So you're saying you are not good, you mean you don't feel good, or you're not good at cooking?
No. No, they just don't feel as good. I don't enjoy my body doesn't feel as good on them. I will still do it, but not regularly and consistently. So I will live on mostly cold, fresh, raw and live as much as possible, but I still love some of the things I've created, so I want to continue with them.
Yeah, because you do curries kind of things, so you do that.
But it's again, it's learning your own body, what's right for you, and I think it's a combination of your body, what's right for you emotionally, psychologically, and it's personal. And I think we look outside of ourselves a lot of the time for things. It's good to have information and inspiration, but I think only we truly know. And you have to experiment with that until you find your way. You know?
Right. Do we have more time, or you just let's check the time?
No, we're good.
Yeah, we are good. Okay. Oof.
My
Okay, I've got so many questions to you, and
we'll need to do another day.
Yeah, I know. So okay, let me have a look. What I had those questions, which are a little bit, slightly different, which are maybe not as related to per se what you do, but I think it will be interesting to find out. Okay, are there any funny stories your family tells about you that
Oh my
are
gosh.
coming to your mind?
Funny stories my family tell about me.
Or maybe there's
Uh,
nothing, you know?
Mostly when you were a kid.
Yeah?
You know, yeah. Mostly
Any,
when
give
you
me
were,
a good one.
when you were,
Little short good one.
when you were small. So apparently we had gone to the store. I think I might have been a little bit jealous because my brother had been born.
Okay, so your brother is younger.
2 years younger, so he was taking all my attention. I'm pretty sure he was there. That the memory of my mum telling this story, and we'd gone to the store, and I would normally get. We used to have these things here. They were called like chocolate tools,
Okay.
and they were it was chocolate but put into like tool shapes, like saws and
All
things
right.
as well. So that's my memory of getting things at the store when you were younger. So I'd always get sweets because obviously it was cute. So anyway, the woman behind the counter was apparently speaking to me, and I wasn't responding. I think I was maybe in a little bit of a strop, you know. So she said, "Oh, has the cat got your tongue?" And apparently I just ignored her. So we were walking home, and apparently I turned to my mum and said, "She thought the cat had my tongue." So, yes, so basically a little pain in the butt since.
Oh, wow.
So that's one. I'm sure there are others, but yeah.
Next time you're gonna get ready
time.
the next
Well,
one.
you can interview my mum.
Would you imagine yourself, or maybe different way? What profession other than you doing now would you like to attempt, or you see yourself
I
doing?
feel like I have 5 possible lives in this one lifetime. Like all these things that you'd love to do, but it keeps you scattered,
Yeah.
right? So obviously, you know, do what I do. I love the fitness, the connection, the training. I love the theatrical stuff. So those are really my main things. But I would actually love to have a venue that's a cafe.
Ooh,
you know,
yeah.
I would honestly
Yeah.
love it. But that has maybe like a little yoga studio, but like the cafe's quite open. I even actually have the visual of it, and it's all like clean stuff, fresh and juices, and you make your own things, but it's where everybody comes and they feel welcome, you know. And you do things like suspended coffees, you know, where somebody can basically buy a coffee for maybe somebody else who is in need of it.
Okay.
Or
Oh
like
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's
yeah.
a few of these places. Like I saw one recently. I think it's somewhere in New York. It's a $1 pizza place, and you can purchase a slice
For
and you
someone.
put the post-it note on the wall, and
That's so cool.
yeah, so it's a community service of people giving back as well.
That
And
would be
within that
amazing.
same facility, there would be a clothing drop place, a shoe drop, so that people can actually, you know, drop things off. Because I think when people are living their lives, you know, our lives are for us. You focus on something that you're doing. You're having coffee with a friend. But if we could have coffee the way we are now in our cake, and you felt like you were contributing
Yeah.
to other people, that is so rewarding for
Yeah.
people. And I feel like we need more opportunities of that.
Maybe that's suggestion for someone who's listening and have a cafe, if you know, to do something like that, because it's
Yeah.
really cool
And also
actually.
would do meditation evenings, and I would do like a little moon evenings, so like in full moon and new moon. We do women's circles, we do children's circles. Just
Amazing, I
things
love
for-
it.
and
Let's
also
do it. Let's do it.
in the
Let's
bathroom-
don't talk about it. Let's.
I know. In the bathroom there'd be loads of motivational notes.
Yeah.
So when you go to the mirror and you look at yourself in the mirror when you're washing hands, it would say, "Love yourself, you're gorgeous." Go and
Ooh,
give
I
yourself
like.
a kiss.
You know what? I may steal those ideas and put it at the fitness soul.
Yeah, I love.
What
the
else? What
idea of
else? Give me.
that. So people are literally bombarded with feel-good stuff their
Yeah.
entire visit. You know.
Amazing. Yeah, that would be so
another
cool.
Life. Maybe that's, you never know.
You never know, you know. It's just, you know, the life takes us in like so many like weird ways that we never thought
Yeah.
that we will be.
Because I think
So
as well, like this is healing for people. This is creative. It's transformational. But so is like tea, and so is juice, and so are fruits and vegetables. Like to have a place where everything, the content of the entire business is all about self-healing and self-transformation and passing that on to other people. You know,
amazing.
I'm gonna sip my tea.
Yeah, sip your tea, and well, we need to finish soon. But I've got a couple of questions that I really wanted.
Let's do it. I'll stop. I'll talk less.
Your life. Okay, so there is this quote: "Believe in yourself and never give up." Yeah, and it's all good when we hear it, but sometimes for some people it's just applying it's really difficult.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you have any story, and it's easier when you hear a story, obviously. I wonder if you had any hurdles which you personally faced and overcome them.
you know, it's really interesting because I think you're in the hurdle at the time, right? You're very, very aware of it, but afterwards, when you're honestly looking back on something, you don't remember the hardship or the hurdles. And I think, if anything, that's the thing we have to keep in mind. Like, we can't see it at the time, and all we're faced with are the struggles. And I know I've had those. It would take me to really pull upon them. Now, it doesn't. I've so not had an easy time of everything. It's never just been fed to you, you know. But I think it's more so just all the little moments that we have gone through. At any of them, we've had self-doubt, and we've had worry about if something will happen, if we won't, because we're faced with our current reality. But genuinely, just to believe that what it is that is calling you or pulling you, because I don't believe that's for no reason. In fact, maybe the first time round when I went to the States, that's a good example. So I was 24, I think. I was living in London, and I really, really wanted to go and give the States a try. I wanted to be in LA. I'd be doing a lot of theatre, and just, I believed in myself, but I didn't see how it was going to get there. So once you focus maybe on the obstacles, then that can pull you out of your self-belief. And my memory of that time is actually just focusing on the outcome and just believing that because I was drawn to it, and because it was an idea and an inspiration, and it never left me, it stayed with me, that's what I was supposed to be doing. So I think it's to trust that, to trust your crazy ideas, your notions, the things that bug you, the things that stay with you, the things that don't go away, the dreams and the hopes. If they're there, believe they're there for a reason. Even if you doubt yourself, believe the thing that you have.
You learn through them as well.
And also trust how you will get there, because that part is something that's not necessarily in our control. And how I ended up getting there was actually through other people also believing in you. So I think it's important to surround ourselves with people that lift us up, that believe in ourselves, that the whole thing of, like, they sing your song back to you, right, when you forget the words, you know?
Yeah.
To surround yourself with those people, because it's natural to doubt yourself. You're not perfect, you're not a robot, but just to remember in those times to say it's okay, it just means you're human. So that certainly for me, that time, and that was a whole year and a half of making that happen. And it did happen, and it was one of the best things, I ever did.
Because you learned so much, you moved on, and it's not, you are not in the same place.
Mm-hmm. But what I will talk about, like, if I ever talk about that moment, is how things came in that were unexpected, because you didn't know quite how you were going to get there. You just knew that it's absolutely what you were going to do, and you believed in it, and you imagined it, and you just consistently were that. I had dips, but then you have to quickly crawl back up to that better feeling place, because you have a choice whether you stay, which place you stay, and it's not always easy, but you have to make it,
Cool. Okay, let's wrap up. So the last
we
thing.
Need a part 2.
Yeah,
Gosh,
that's already so many questions. So very last question. If that would be your last conversation with me, and everything else, the word finish or whatever, and everything else you've done, you said, it's erased. What would be your 3 things you would like to share with people?
Oh my gosh. So if this was the last, let me just clarify, so the last thing I ever got to say, you got to choose 3 things to say. Interestingly enough, believe in yourself. Absolutely. Believe that you're capable of what your desires are. Trust that you have that vision for a reason.
Shall I count? You okay, you can say more.
They're the same category. Believe in yourself, trust the vision, and surround yourself by people that lift you higher. But can I add one thing?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Be present in every single moment, because you're never, ever guaranteed any other time. And so be present every single moment. Choose happiness. Choose people over and above anything
That's
else.
probably 10
Choose
things,
people.
but that's fine. Carry on. Carry on.
Eat the cake.
Eat cake. Okay, that's the most that should be first, to be honest.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much for talking to me, and it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Where people can find you?
You can go onto thesoulworks.org or donnagiffen.com, either of those, and that's all changing quite soon. So a lot of what we're talking about today, there's some good stuff coming. So
Amazing.
There's meditation stuff, there's some online workshops. It's all in the works, and it will be coming very, very soon. So if you want more access, there's lots out there, but I would like to kind of put it in one place. So yes, so you can find us there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Share. please, with everybody. If you enjoyed it, obviously, comment and give us a hug next time you see us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.